19-year-old lefty Alex Eala from the Philippines could be the next big thing in pro tennis.
This is the goal
My goal is to be able to integrate myself into the WTA circuit more and to be able to handle myself better on court.
Bolted into the spotlight last month after making the semifinals at one of the biggest pro tennis tournaments in the world.
Right now, as you're watching this, practice court 6 at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden has completely lost its mind. Christopher Eubanks, a former ATP pro who has seen nearly everything this sport throws at crowds, went on broadcast just yesterday and said organizers genuinely need to move Alex Eala onto a bigger court because the sheer volume of fans flooding the grounds is a legitimate safety concern. That is the Indian Wells 2026 madness we are talking about. Here's the thing, this isn't new. In Dubai just 2 weeks ago, tournament director Salah Tahlak went on record and said every single match involving Eala was sold out. That ticket frenzy didn't stay in the UAE. It followed her straight to California. The Indian Wells Tennis Garden has hosted legends. Steffi Graf won the Sunshine Double here. Serena Williams turned this desert into her playground. Martina Navratilova herself won back-to-back women's events here at 33 and 34. And now she's watching Alex Eala's rise. From the outside, and what she said about this 19-year-old on the WTA's official platform genuinely caught people off guard.
It's hard to imagine that now because we're so far removed from it that it's almost hard to just that I want to be number one. Little did I know that I would, 100%. I think sports has always been on the front of social change and social progress.
If Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court.
Is she the biggest draw in women's tennis right now in the world?
And then we have a big challenger after this in...
Can't believe it lightly. If this is the kind of coverage you're here for, subscribe right now, because this story is only getting bigger. So how did a world number 32 debut spark a phenomenon that has the entire tennis world watching? Last year, Indian Wells set an all-time attendance record. 504,268 fans passed through the gates across the 15-day event. That was without Eala in the draw. She wasn't even in the conversation. Now she's here as a seeded player for the very first time at a WTA 1000 event, ranked 32nd in the world, and the tournament's own website is already calling her one of tennis's most delightfully unkept secrets.
Of course, the atmosphere in each tournament has been amazing, and it's been a different start this year than any other year I've ever had. So,
sports, Alex Eala makes history in the US as the first Filipino tennis player to compete at the Indian Wells Open.
Is she the biggest draw in women's tennis right now?
Yes.
Is she bigger than Sabalenka? Is she bigger than Coco?
Dude, it's crazy. She's having the same effect that Fonseca was having on the men's side last year in Miami.
That ship has clearly sailed. What makes this particularly fascinating is the geography of it. California has the largest Filipino population in the entire United States, close to 2 million people. That is not a fan base that needs to travel. They are already there, already mobilized, and already descending on the Indian Wells Tennis Garden with a level of energy that the ground staff was simply not prepared for. When Eala held her first training session at Practice Court 6, fans were pressing through fences of adjacent courts just to catch a glimpse, not of a match, a practice session, before a single competitive ball had been struck.
Alex Eala advances to the Dubai WTA 1000 quarterfinals. Sheila Salaysay has that story.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to come on here and thank every single one of you for your support, taking the time and effort out of your day to be there and cheer me on with the other girls. It means so much, especially at this time of the year. I couldn't thank you more, and I had such a fun time.
Broadcast analysts discussed this live on air, and one analyst put a question out there that has since taken over the tennis conversation. Could Alex Eala already be the biggest draw in women's tennis globally right now at this very moment? The other didn't hedge. He described venues in Australia and Dubai as standing room only and called the atmosphere around her matches insane and massive. Every tournament she enters, the buzz gets louder. That trajectory, if it continues, points somewhere nobody expected a 19-year-old Filipino ranked outside the top 30 to go this fast. To understand what's currently unfolding in California, you have to go back to Dubai just 2 weeks ago, because that is where the ticket frenzy blueprint was written. The Dubai Tennis Championships tournament director, Salah Talak, gave an interview after the event that stopped people in their tracks. He confirmed that every single match involving Eala was completely sold out. Not just well attended, gone. His words were precise. People were desperately trying to get tickets, and there were none left. He added, and this is the part that matters, that in his entire tenure running the tournament since 2019, he had never witnessed anything like it.
These tournaments are such great experiences for me, especially playing in front of the best crowd ever. And I do my best. I do what I can, and just if I see an opening.
So young, and she's just coming through. So, and obviously the first couple rounds, the schedule is so packed.
She has more confidence, and she goes for her shots without any doubt, I would say.
This was definitely one of the bigger Filipino turnouts. Also, New York was huge. It also depends what court you're on, that you feel the noise and things.
That is a tournament director with years of experience who has hosted world number ones, defending champions, and marquee names, saying a player ranked outside the world's top 30 produced something unprecedented at his event. What was Eala doing on court while all of this was happening outside? She was dismantling world number 7, Jasmine Paolini of Italy in the round of 32, her first top 10 win of 2026.
Another wonderful win for Alexandra Eala. Thank you, Jasmine, she says. Paolini gracious as ever in defeat. The former champion is out. Alexandra Eala.
This is going to go down the wire, but because of the week off from Eala, I think that she might be able to cause the upset here. And Paolini is not playing that great. And unlike the Alexandrova match in Abu Dhabi where Eala got overpowered, that's not going to be the problem here. So I'm going to go with Eala.
She then pushed deep into the quarterfinals before falling to world number 4 Coco Gauff in straight sets. The result against Gauff was lopsided, 6-0, 6-2, but the journey to get there told a completely different story about where Eala's game currently sits. She arrived in California off the back of a 10-6 record for 2026, having already reached the semifinals in Auckland and the quarterfinals in Dubai. The ranking points accumulated from those runs gave her a career high of number 31, enough to break into the top 32 seedings at Indian Wells and earn a first-round bye for the first time in her career at a WTA 1000 event. That bye dropped her directly into the round of 64, where she faces Ukraine's Diana Yastremska on March 6th. They've met before. At the 2025 Eastbourne Open, Eala won 6-1, 6-2 before going all the way to the final, eventually losing to Australia's Maya Joint in a heartbreaker. Navratilova has won 18 Grand Slam singles titles. She won back-to-back women's events at Indian Wells itself at age 33 and 34. She has watched the sport evolve across 5 decades, from Chrissy Evert to Steffi Graf to Serena Williams. When she speaks about a rising player, the tennis world listens, because her eye for talent is about as calibrated as it gets. Navratilova sat down with the WTA's official platform for a Sunshine Swing preview ahead of the 2026 BNP Paribas Open, and when Eala's name came up, she laughed before she even started talking. That laugh, for those who follow Navratilova closely, is not dismissive. It's the laugh of someone who recognizes something genuinely tricky to deal with. She called Eala crafty. She noted her left-handedness as a genuine tactical weapon and said she uses her variety in a way that causes problems. For a player who has built her entire career on outsmarting bigger, stronger opponents, that kind of description from Navratilova can't be taken lightly. But Navratilova didn't stop at admiration. She went straight into the honest assessment of where Eala still has work to do, and she was direct about it: the serve. That is the area she identified as Eala's biggest ceiling right now. She said Eala needs a bigger serve with more kick, and acknowledged that her slight build makes it physically harder to generate the kind of pace that top 10 players lean on to control matches.
Obviously not to this extent, and I think the ceiling that Alex Eala has is obviously that much higher. And I'm going to bring in a little boxing here because my dad wanted me to be a boxer, but I chose tennis. But Manny Pacquiao.
Good call.
Manny Pacquiao, we saw him when he, was at the top of his game.
It also depends what court you're on, you know, that you feel the noise and things.
So the other day with Alex Eala, you know, that's been a talk.
Her exact framing was instructive. She said Eala needs to beef up a little and punch up that serve. Coming from Navratilova, that is not a criticism. That is a roadmap. She's essentially saying the raw ingredients are there, the tactical intelligence is already working at a high level, and the physical development is the final piece. What can't be ignored in that assessment is what she didn't say. She didn't question Eala's shot selection. She didn't raise concerns about her movement, her mentality, or her ability to compete against elite players. She flagged one specific technical gap, which tells you that in Navratilova's view, everything else is already functioning at a level worth respecting. Here is where this story gets genuinely interesting for anyone who follows the WTA closely. Navratilova's comments about Eala came in the same interview where she warned Sabalenka, Swiatek, and Goff that the circuit is changing around them. She was explicit. Players like Eala represent a new generation that has clarity of action, knows how to study opponents tactically, and no longer walks onto the court intimidated by big names.
I'm really happy to advance to the next round. Obviously, it's not in the way I wanted it to end.
Eala is set to compete in the singles and doubles events.
With energy like that, you don't get tired, so it was good.
And Alex, so good to have you out here for the first time. How special was that?
Having too much crowd on this or any other tennis tournament is a very good problem to have.
That is a structural shift in women's tennis, not a one-tournament storyline. The timing of Eala's Indian Wells debut makes this even more loaded. She is not just trying to win matches this week, she is entering a venue where last year she wasn't even in the draw, with points she needs to defend at the Miami Open immediately after. Points earned from a stunning semifinal run in 2025 where she beat Iga Swiatek, and Grand Slam champions Madison Keys and Jelena Ostapenko. If her Indian Wells run falls short, the pressure heading into Miami compounds. If she goes deep here, she potentially breaks into the top 20 for the first time. Christopher Eubanks framed the crowd situation with a specific concern that cuts through the noise of the hype cycle. He pointed back to Australia, where fan crowds around Eala's side courts became physically unmanageable, mobs forming, lines stretching far beyond what the infrastructure was designed to handle.
She's the biggest draw in women's tennis right now.
Yes.
Is she bigger than Sabalenka? Is she bigger than Coco?
Dude, it's crazy. She's having the same effect that Fonseca was having, like on the men's side last year in Miami.
It's like Fonseca, but I think it's bigger than Fonseca.
It is, yeah, it is.
Like the Doha, crowds were insane for her last week.
Yeah.
Correct.
She's definitely one to watch, obviously because she's so good, but just for the atmosphere. You want to tune into her matches just to see what it's like on the court.
There's got to be like a little jealousy maybe from some of the women, that girl's coming in, she's not top 10, biggest star in the world.
His plea to organizers was straightforward. Put her on bigger courts so the situation stays safe. That is a former ATP professional making a logistical argument about a WTA player who doesn't yet have a title to her name on the main tour. The gap between her ranking and her real-world impact has become one of the most unusual storylines in recent tennis history. Eala's path through the Indian Wells draw is genuinely compelling on paper. Win against Yastremska on March 6th, and a potential third-round rematch against Coco Gauff opens up, the same Gauff who beat her 6-0, 6-2 in Dubai. Beyond that, the draw puts Jasmine Paolini, the player Eala already beat in Dubai, as a possible quarterfinal opponent.
Thank you, Jasmine, she says. Paolini gracious as ever in defeat. The former champion is out. Alexandra Eala.
The bracket is not kind, but it is not impossible either, and Eala has already demonstrated this season that she can compete against top 10 players on big stages. she is also competing in the doubles draw alongside world number 18 Iva Jovic of the United States, the same partnership that reached the semifinals in Auckland in January. Their first-round doubles opponents are Latvia's Jelena Ostapenko and American Haley Baptiste. Another deep doubles run alongside a singles campaign of this intensity would be a significant test of Eala's stamina across 2 weeks in the California desert. The California ticket frenzy around her debut has set a tone that the rest of the tournament will now have to manage. Whether the court she's assigned can actually contain the volume of fans showing up is a genuine operational question, one that Indian Wells, as a venue that broke its own attendance record just last year, will be watching closely. The madness is real, the demand is verified, and the tennis underneath all of it is good enough to back it up. That is the full picture of what is happening with Alex Eala at Indian Wells 2026. From the sold-out stadiums in Dubai that set this whole thing in motion, to Martina Navratilova's assessment that is equal parts praise and challenge, to a ticket frenzy in California that has tournament organizers genuinely rethinking their court assignments. If you made it this far, you already know this channel covers tennis the way it deserves to be covered, with real facts, honest analysis, and perspectives that go beyond the surface. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications because Eala's run at Indian Wells is still unfolding and we will be covering every development as it happens. Drop your prediction for how far she goes in the comments below. Quarterfinal, semifinal, or something nobody's expecting. Let's see who gets it right.